Alright, hey guys, me again, you know who I am, and today I'm here to talk about this new weapons balance pass that's coming soon, and I've seen other YouTubers' videos about this, and all of them seem to miss one crucial thing about this whole weapons balance pass, and that are the buffs are actually they're all really bad for us as players because I don't know if you guys noticed, but all the buffs that apply, to a weapon also apply to the enemies that use them. So, for instance, the miter, the eviscerator is going to get a buff, in how he was, never ever a problem ever. Well, he's going to be a problem now with the increased projectile speed, and he's actually got crit chance. By the way, yeah, enemies can crit in this game. The butchers, for instance, they will crit if they hit you in the back. For instance, they're got a guaranteed crit there. Um, you know, and the hard pack, those Decker guys, the on the Uranus tile set and this one on Marina on Earth. Well, they're gonna shred you now with the 20% crit chance. Good thing they can't use alt fire; that'd be even more annoying. Now, I'm glad that the Hind didn't get any straight up buffs to his primary fire, simply because that would, since all the elite lancers use the Hind, and if that ever got buffed, that would be really bad already. Because the Hind can do a lot of work, since there's multiple of them and there's only one of you, so that's going to be pretty dangerous. However, since enemies can't use alt fire again, that's why this is not too terrible. Pantera we don't need to worry about. However, it looks like it's getting some interesting buffs that I don't know if it's going to make a difference. However, its secondary fire can basically hit 100% status chance since it has a base 35. I think it will only need 3 dual stat mods to hit 100% status chance. Now, the Parasists. Again, and the buffs that apply also apply to the enemies that use them. However, there's only really one enemy that uses this, and that is Mutilus Alid V. Now, for instance, if a sortie hits with him in it, because you probably won't fight him very often anyways, but if you ever got hit, I haven't fought him enough times to actually get hit by his Parasist, but if you actually do get hit by his Parasist, you're dead. You're gonna get one shot, and literally no matter what, because of the increased status chance, which means that Toxin proc also has a higher chance of proccing. He can also proc Corrosive on the Parasist, on his version of the Parasist or whatever, and he's also getting some crit along with that. So that's really bad. So if you ever got hit and somehow survived the Parasist attack from Mutilus Alid V, you're gonna get erased now if you so much as get scratched by this thing, since it bypasses shields and everything. Good luck. Mutilus Quanta is getting an interesting mechanic change. Luckily, no one uses that. I thought Alid V used the Mutilus Quanta for example, but because there's lore involving it, but that's whatever. Buzzlock. Now, there is an enemy that uses the Buzzlock, and that is Harknar. Harknar is the sniper in the arena, in the Sedna arena with Kayla the Thame and whatnot, and you gotta, fight them to get to her. And I didn't think too much of this at first, but she's getting an increased crit chance. Her size has been reduced, so she may have to reload more often, but the damage is going to be increased, which means if she hits you at that level 80 arena, she's just going to kill you outright, most likely. Now, Glaxion. Now, remember that one capture target that uses the Glaxion and has that little shield, that Arctic Eximus shield? And how he can, basically shred you? There's no leeway with this here. So if he gets if any of these buffs go through, he's going to shred you and without any mercy, basically. So it's like the same thing with the Scorch initially. Before that Ignis got buffed, they weren't too much of a problem. The Glaxion user isn't terrible. You could sort of dodge him once the core proc wears off, but cold procs last for a very long time. So that's something to think about. Ogress, that's big. This is big here. And so if you thought the Ogress was bad now on the Bombards, you got another thing coming to you, dude. So not only is the AoE damage going to be increased from 500 to 600, the status chance has been increased to 35%, which means if you thought you were getting knocked down all the time by the Bombards now, oh boy, they're going to knock you down almost without fail now because of that blast proc. And procs blast actually really often on the Ogress that they use. So Yeah, and the flight speed has been increased, so that's really really bad. And the AOE has increased as well. I think it was like originally what 2 meters, but now it's 6 meters. So they can really really dish out some hurt through walls now. If you try to duck behind cover, that cover isn't going to do anything for you anymore. Now there's something with the Attica buff that doesn't sit right with me. I think this needs to be buffed to be a little bit stronger, because right now the Zeus or the Zuga, however you pronounce that that automatic crossbow, has a 20% crit chance, but it also has a 35% status chance, making it still the better weapon. And you could arguably get it easier than the Attica, but both of these weapons are master rank 0, and I think one of them needs to have a master rank applied to them, because like sacrificing a 35% crit chance for like an extra 5% crit chance and a 2x crit multiplier, I don't think is going to be very good. I know the Zuga or the Zouge, whatever, has slightly lesser damage and it has a slightly higher fire rate, but that status chance is really going to carry it throughout high level content, and I don't think that the Attica will be up for the task by that time or around that area. So we'll have to see about the Attica. But honestly, the Zouge is still going to be better, as in my opinion. Town Core, you're always going to kill yourself with it. Moving on. Cyanide Simulator, there's no range, and somehow they made it worse. And I don't know why, but they changed the focus to like the detonation of the orbs. However, this status chance increase doesn't help any of that at all, because since there's like basically no range on the primary fire now, the alternate fire always procs electricity, status chance is garbage and it's not going to help anything. I mean, sure, it could hit 100% status chance, and I was been testing out a status build of my Simulor, and it's a lot of fun, the status Simulor versus crit Simulor. So I feel like this crit Simulor, sure, it does a lot of damage, but it's very inconsistent because of the low crit chance, but sure, it procs for a lot. And honestly, the status chance, I feel like it would be really good, but since they increased the range and the orb combining, I don't think that's going to be too great anymore. And basically it's going to take now less orbs to combine to get a vortex now. So if you ever ran so it's going to take like 3 orbs to combine to a vortex. It used to be 5. However, if you ran your Simulor with multi-shot like I did, it's basically going to be 2 now, or almost damn near instant. If you have like a multi-shot ribbon mod on your Simulor. So yeah, you're going to have to want to watch out for that. And Telos Boltus is getting a mechanic change that also has a cooldown. So I mean, I guess that's good for people who have like carpal tunnel or whatever the fuck, or had like key bindings so they wouldn't hurt their fingers using this thing. However, I honestly felt that this weapon was kind of weak, and its passive was sort of weak anyways, because it just doesn't deal enough damage. Like the Secure Electa, honestly, when it comes to spin to win, Secure Electa is going to be your best bet when it comes to damage wise. So it's funny that it got a mechanical change. And, I think we'll have to see about the Telos Boltes, and hopefully it's going to be actually, honestly, usable, to be honest. But other than that, I feel like Telos Boltes didn't need this change. It didn't even need the nerf at all. Because it honestly, in my honest opinion, it wasn't a very good weapon, and it was only really good for opening fucking boxes. But you could also do that with the Ignis, so now where the fuck does this thing go, right? So, want spin to win, I'd highly recommend the Secure Electa or something else, or like a whip or something. So, other than that, these changes are kind of puzzling, and hopefully most of these buffs don't go through, especially that Ogress one. That Ogress one is scary. That's really, really going to hurt you if you're fighting bombards. Because there's only really one way to avoid bombard rockets and get their tracking off of you, and that's to go invisible. And that's really the only way you can change the aggro or to take the lock on off of you. But anyway, guys, that's just my 2 cents on the whole weapon balance thing. And I feel like this is really, really going to change up how the enemies, how dangerous the Grineer will be now. So the Grineer are going to be a lot more dangerous. That one capture target that uses the Glaxion, if you run into him, you're oh man. I mean, sure, you can just one-shot him, but if he manages to turn around and blast you with the Glaxon, you're screwed. Honestly, I felt like the Glaxon was already a good weapon. Consumes 10 ammo, but I felt like it was doing 10 times that damage to make up for the ammo consumption. So I felt like this was a fairly balanced weapon, but the damage is getting increased. But the range is getting reduced, so Sinister Reach is going to be a must instead of guided ordnance on that weapon. But anyways, yeah. So all these changes are subject to change. However, I feel like that if any of these go through, this is going to be really, really bad for everyone. The only one buff that I feel like needs to go through, and is probably the Attica buff, but that needs to be a little bit stronger, and it needs to be like a compelling choice between, like, the Zooge and that, because otherwise you'd probably still want to pick the Zooge because of the status chance. It can hit 100% status chance, that 35% base status. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.